was a kid growing up in Oklahoma, well, making homemade ice cream was a pretty big deal. You know, my family every summer would host this, well, it was kind of like a big old ice cream social. Now, I know it sounds kind of Norman Rockwell, but we actually did it. All the families that we'd invite, well, they'd all make ice cream in ice cream makers just like this, pack the canister in ice and carry it to the party. And you know, for us kids, this was the prize. If you were really lucky, you got to lick the dasher. That old ice cream social sort of gone the way of the peach pie contest and the picnic basket auction. But I'm kind of sad about that. And so you know what? Tonight I'm going to do my little turn at reviving the ice cream social, of course with a little Mexican twist. And in Mexico, well, social is all about being out and about. You know, out on the sidewalks, in the parks, well, especially in the plazas. I mean, most people have small houses, so when they want to hang out with the crowd, they hit the streets. Kind of like a public party where everybody's invited. And of course, when there's a party, there's music and dancing and all kinds of food to eat. Like in that fabulous square in Mérida out in the Yucatan, where you can get these crispy rolled up waffles they call marquesitas. They're made to order for you while you watch, from the simple batter poured onto iron griddles and baked and then filled with cheese or cajeta or Nutella. And when it comes to ice cream, well, it's all that same idea, like at Dulceria Colón in Mérida or Bella Italia in the Condesa section of Mexico City. People may not always have much of a living room, but they've got these fabulous old-time ice cream parlors. And they're real parlors, places to meet and catch up with your friends. And on a warm afternoon or an evening, well, it's hard to imagine anything more perfect than those custardy ice creams and fabulous tropical fruit ices. It's kind of like in Mexico, every day's an ice cream social, which kind of got me thinking about our friend David's birthday. I mean, he's always saying, just give me some great ice cream and you can forget your cake or pie. So I thought, okay, we will forget the cake, and instead we'll have a Mexican-style ice cream social. I'll make a couple of really special ice creams, some really cool ice cream cones, just for fun. I thought I'd throw in one of those shaved ice raspados that everybody loves. We're gonna have 8 people, 3 desserts, a bottle of champagne. Sounds like the perfect ice cream social to me. Now, of course, I could make ice cream in this, but it makes a huge batch of a single flavor, and I was thinking more about a variety of flavors, so I'm going to go for the more modern approach. You know, these are the ones with the frozen canister bases in them. You just put that all right in, no ice, no muss, no fuss. And I'm going to start by making a chili chocolate ice cream, very modern too, and I just love the way that it gives you that kind of snowball effect. It starts with something that's very icy cold, and it resolves into chocolate, then Mexican chocolate, and finally to spicy hot. Well, you start off by combining 2 different kinds of chocolate with some of those dark black pasilla chilies. I'm going to start heating a griddle here, and we're going to toast the black pasilla chili. It's that long black one like that, after cleaning it. So you pull off the stem end. I'm going to pull out the veins like that, knock out all of the seeds, and then when that griddle is hot, I'm going to lay it right onto the griddle top there. It'll only take a few seconds per side. Okay, so it's nicely toasted. I'm going to use a really good quality bittersweet melting chocolate, and I need about 3 ounces. This was a 3.5 ounce bar. And then I'm going to combine that with a couple of ounces of Mexican chocolate. You know, the kind that doesn't really melt, has the cinnamon flavor to it. And it usually comes in rounds like this. So I'm going to cut off about that much of it, set that to the side, and the rest of it I'm going to chop up. Now in a saucepan, I'm going to combine all of this chocolate Mexican chocolate, bittersweet melting chocolate, and our toasted chili here. And to that I'm going to add a cup and a third of half and half. We're gonna let that come to a simmer over medium heat. And once that has steeped for about 10 minutes, turn the fire off once it comes to a simmer, then put it into the blender and blend it until it's as smooth as you can get it. Now I'm going to turn that into a luscious cooked custard ice cream base. This is absolutely the best ice cream base that you can make. And I'm going to set up a double boiler to cook it in. So I'm going to put some water here in a large pan. I've got a stainless steel bowl here that will just nestle right into it. Get that heating up. Now into that bowl, I'm going to put some egg yolks. We'll start with 4 egg yolks that I'm going to separate. And then I'm going to add a half a cup of sugar to that. And our chocolate chili base. Wow, does that smell good? I'm going to scrape every little bit of it in there. Then I'm going to cook it until it gets to that steamy stage and thickens noticeably. I'll show you what that looks like on the back of a wooden spoon. So now we're ready to strain this chocolate chili mixture into an ice water bath. And now we've got 3 more ingredients to add. Heavy cream, some Mexican vanilla, and some coffee liqueur. I'm gonna add a cup and a third of heavy cream. And for that Mexican vanilla, about a teaspoon and a half. Coffee liqueur, a couple of tablespoons. Stir all of that together until it's very cold. Pour it into the frozen canister base of the ice cream maker and then let it go until it's the consistency of soft serve ice cream. That'll take about 20 minutes. Boy, does that look luscious. Definitely the snowball effect. The flavors just keep building and building and building. Okay, so this is ready. Now it's on to raspados, shaved ice, and I'm going to make that incredibly refreshing combination of watermelon, lime, raspberry, pomegranate, and mint. I'm going to get some from the garden. First step in making the raspado is to cut up a watermelon. I've got one of these small watermelons here and I'm going to cut it in half because all we're going to need is about half of it. Cut that half into quarters and then cut the flesh from the rind. Now I'm going to cut this into large pieces and collect the next 2 ingredients. Right over here, I need pomegranate juice and fresh raspberries. Take the blender jar because we're going to combine all of this together. I'm going to pour these raspberries into the blender jar along with about a cup and a half of this pomegranate juice. That's going to add a lovely deep rich tang. The big pieces of watermelon all go together. We can just kind of crush those down because those are going to all blend up to a smaller quantity. A cup full of sugar goes in and a squeeze of fresh lime juice. And last but certainly not least, a few sprigs of mint. Pull off the leaves of that beautiful aromatic spearmint. We'll go straight to the blender. Blend it to a smooth puree and then pour it into a 13 by 9 baking dish. Now slide that dish into the freezer. After about 45 minutes, go in and stir it around. It should start to look kind of slushy at that point. Return it to the freezer and then, every 15 minutes or so, go in and stir and scrape the mixture until it looks like coarse snow. It should take about 2 hours total freezing time. And the third little tasting dessert I have in store for us, well, it might surprise you. You know how every culture seems to have its combination of fruit and cheese, like camembert and pears in France, or apple pie and cheddar cheese in the United States? Well, in Spain and Latin America, that fruit and cheese combination typically starts with ate, or a kind of gelled fruit paste. The classic one is ate de membrillo, or a quince paste. Now, all over Latin America, they make them from other kinds of fruits. My favorite in Mexico is the one that's made from guavas, or ate de guayaba. And they typically will serve it with a kind of fresh cheese, which led me to cream cheese, which led me all the way to cream cheese ice cream. Now you're just going to have to stick with me on this one because it's absolutely delicious. So the first step in making cream cheese ice cream is to beat together some cream cheese with some ice cream. First of all, I'm going to just beat this to soften it up. Okay, you know how I just love music, and I was thinking about what we should play during this new style ice cream social. And I thought we should just blend together some Latin, some non-Latin, some groovy, hip, cool stuff. And the first thing that came to my mind was one of my favorite groups, Pink Martini. And I thought we should play Tempo Perdido because it's got such a wonderfully groovy style to it. Okay, so the second step here in making our cream cheese ice cream is to scoop vanilla ice cream into the beaten cream cheese mixture. And then we'll beat that until it's the consistency of soft serve ice cream. Okay, so for the second song, I thought we should go into something sort of more classic, and I thought about Ibrahim Ferrer from Buena Vista Social Club, that great dance number called Marietta. Okay, now for this incredibly easy ice cream, I mean, we've already made the cream cheese vanilla base there. I'm going to cut up this ate de guayaba, or guava paste, into little bits. And you'll see, oh man, this stuff is delicious. And just like guavas, it's very, very aromatic. Okay, now all of this will go right into the mixer. And then I'm gonna let the mixer on low speed just kind of blend it in nicely. I'm gonna pack that into a little bowl. Now this bowl is the one that I'm gonna use here for serving. Looks like we got some pretty delicious soft serve ice cream going here. So I'm gonna scrape all of this into our serving bowl. We'll return that to the freezer. So toward the end of the party, I was thinking about this not so well-known group called Pepe and the Bottle Blondes. They have this really high energy, hilariously wonderful song called Rumba de 5 Kilos. So how are we going to keep all of this frozen stuff frozen during this party. I've got this really great idea I want to show you. I thought, why not borrow that technique from the old-fashioned ice cream socials and pack our ices and ice creams into ice mixed with salt. So I collected together here all of these ice buckets and this mold for trifle. And I thought we could just pack them all full of ice like this. And then I've got some coarse salt here to sprinkle on the top. That'll lower the temperature of the ice, so it'll keep our ices and ice creams completely frozen. I can pack all of those into these bowls, and then we'll just nestle them right down like that. Keep them perfectly frozen throughout the whole party. Now I thought it'd be really cool to make some little ice cream cones for that chocolate and chili ice cream. But you know, I find ice cream cones hard to put out, hard to serve. And I thought about this spice rack that I had, and I thought that'd be pretty cool. We could just set the cones right in that. And that old-fashioned ice cream bucket, that's gonna make a really great vase for this huge spray of flowers. And then I thought, you know, one of the things that I wanna do is to bring that sense of the outside inside. So I brought in one of the serving carts from outside and one of the umbrellas, and I think it's going to create just that right ambiance of the old-fashioned ice cream carts with some very modern touches. Now, what I was thinking about for the ice cream cones is that we would make them in this device. This is like a pizzelle iron, or sometimes called a crumkaka iron, but you can also use it to make ice cream cones. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is to get the ingredients together. Some butter and eggs, put those right over here. We're going to need some flour and sugar. Set those right there. Get the iron heating over about a medium heat. And then I'm going to measure into this bowl here about 1 3/4 cup of flour. And there's our 3/4 cup. Now I'm going to mix into the flour about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a little baking powder, also about a 1/2 teaspoon. Stir all of that together and it'll be ready for the base of the batter. Okay, and into the mixer goes a stick of butter, 3/4 cup of sugar, we're going to beat that until it's very smooth. Now with the mixer still on but at a lower speed, I'm going to crack in 3 eggs. And then beat that until it all comes together. Now with the mixer on the slowest speed, I'm going to add the dry ingredients. Let that all come together. And we've got our basic batter for making ice cream cones. I wanted to give these a special touch. So what I'm going to do is to pulverize some pumpkin seeds in a little electric spice mill. I love these things because I like to grind my spices right before I use them. These are toasted pumpkin seeds, and I'm going to put about 1/3 cup of them into the electric spice mill and then pulse it until they're really pulverized completely. Okay, that should do that. They're very, very finely ground now. And I'm going to put them into the mixer with the batter. And along with those toasted ground pumpkin seeds, I'm going to add a little bit of Mexican cinnamon. This is that fresh ground. Wow, it's Beautiful, beautiful stuff. A little bit of Mexican vanilla. Now turn that all and beat those ingredients all together. You can smell the toasted pumpkin seeds and vanilla and cinnamon there. And we're ready to make the ice cream cones. Now, it's a good idea that while this is heating up, you flip it a few times so that both of the plates are evenly heated. Then open it up like this. I'm going to put a drop of oil on that bottom plate and then brush it around. Put a little bit of that oil on the top plate as well. You can see I've used this quite a number of times. Now, we want to put about 1 tablespoon of the batter in the middle because we're going to make little tiny ice cream cones. This little tiny scoop is just perfect size, really easy to maneuver around here. So I'll put that right in the middle there. Close the top plate down. Let it cook for about 20 seconds. Flip it 20 seconds more. Flip it a second time. And then after, about 20 seconds more, a total of about a minute of cooking, it should be beautifully browned. Now here's where you've got to work really quickly because before it cools off, you have to form it around. This is the ice cream former that comes with this. And we'll lay it right there. And then it's very hot, so you just kind of roll it up around like that. And then continue on around. Just like that. Now if you really want to get fancy about the whole thing, well, you could take some chocolate chips, and while they're still warm here, I'm going to drop them down in there, and they're going to start to melt and kind of seal off that little bottom point. Okay, here we go. Happy birthday! Cheers! And here's a spoon. You make a wedge. Yay!
So it's cream cheese ice cream. This is fruit paste that's common in Latin America.
Esperanza inútil, flor de desconsuelo, porque me persigue en mi soledad,
Mexican chocolate ice cream.
porque no me deja
That may sound
ahogar mis anhelos en la amarga copa de la realidad, porque no me mata con un desengaño, porque no me hiere con un desamor.
Well, the idea may be old-fashioned, but I say, with some fresh thinking, an ice cream social can be one cool way to celebrate. Happy birthday!
Here's the ice cream!
Ice cream!
Hey.